while we're setting up for the next talk, I just wanted to mention. Sorry. There was a laser pointer found in the building that one of you might have lost. So if you're missing a laser pointer, go to the reception for this building, and they have it and they're keeping it. So if it's not yours, don't worry. Okay, our next talk is Kenji Saito, who's going to be talking about Double Impact Children's Series RPG Generation, playing with large language model for their deeper engagement in social issues.
Okay, I'm Kenji Saito, and I'll be talking about Double Impact. Okay, the slides you see proceed speaker deck, and you may simply want to search the web with the title of the paper. And in this presentation, we share our experiences of creating serious games with children with a large language model, namely GPT-4 via ChatGPT, in the form of a tabletop role-playing games where GPT-4 plays the game master. And it's a part of the Academy Camp activities, and Academy Camp is a series of play and learn camps for children in especially Fukushima, Japan since 2011, after the Great East Japan earthquake, tsunami, and the nuclear accident. And it's a non-profit activities and organization, and I'm the representative director of Academy Camp, and also a computer scientist and a professor at the Graduate School of Business and Finance at Waseda University, Japan. So as an introduction, role-playing games can promote critical thinking and deeper comprehension of complex issues. However, their creation is often time-consuming and labor-intensive, which can limit their utility in learning, particularly if we want children, the players themselves, involved in creation of such games. Meanwhile, the recent advent of large language models, LLMs, such as GPT-4, offers a way to automate complex intellectual tasks through a technique called prompt engineering. So we see an opportunity here. The primary goals of this work, we illustrate the potential of LLMs, specifically GPT-4, in simplifying and accelerating the design process of serious games in the form of TRPGs. TRPGs, tabletop RPGs, also known as pen and paper RPGs, are games where the game master, GM, having access to the scenario and the rest of the players playing by their character seats, weave a narrative together imaginatively per play. And GPT-4 only predicts the occurrence of words based on probability distribution and is not composing sentences based on accurate knowledge, but can act as a GM given instructions. And we demonstrate through our case study how this method can be applied in a practical learning setting, thereby providing a model for similar applications. And we explain the double impact of our approach, which would foster children's understanding of social issues through both game design and gameplay. So, overview of our approach. Our method applies some modification to a fantasy TRPG generation prompt, which already exists for a single player, published in a blog post and made available for use and adaptation. And based on that prompt, we provided a template to the children. And the children decide what social issues the game will represent and what messages they want to convey through the game. They then imagine a TRPG scenario specifying where the game will begin, what the quest will be, what the goal will be, and adding various constraints. And these parameters are entered into GPT as a prompt, and the game begins. The player does not play according to a predetermined scenario, but rather improvises with the GPT, which reacts in a manner appropriate to a given situation by predicting the next plausible words. So here's a prompt template. It's a version 1, and it basically says, it tells the GPT that you are game master of RPG, and it's a serious RPG, and which is an RPG that allows players to gain deep learning about social issues and scientific concepts. And the children have to specify where the starting point of the game is, and the quest of the game is, what this quest of the game is, the goal of what is the goal of the game, and describe other aspects of this game. And this template has been actually updated to version 2.0 through after our game making camp experience to include the placeholder for purpose of the game and the relevant facts and knowledge. So this approach is like a state. We can depict this approach as a state machine and it's an iteration among the states, like game conception, prompt engineering, and gameplay, repeated again and again. And expected effects of this approach are twofold. One is the impact of game design, where children think critically about how to represent the social issue at hand within the constraints of the game, thereby enhancing their understanding of the topic. And two, the impact of gameplay, where children see the consequences of different actions and decisions, fostering empathy and insight. So here's a case study of the our approach through academic camp called VR and RPG, which had a VR aspect just to so that the children will not get bored. But mainly the subject was RPG creation, and we did it in May this year. And this camp is also dubbed "Don't Be So Serious," and this turned out to be an important keyword phrase we had to repeat and remind children and staff. And we had this camp in a format of 2-day online and 2-day physical camp. And the overall number of participants was 10, from 3rd to 10th graders, and with considerable overlap with past participants in activities with ChatGPT that started January. We started by creating a picture book with ChatGPT and Stable Diffusion, the image generation AI. So here's a list of created serious RPGs. There are approximately like 10 of them, and the first 3 are like just a test, the feasibility check of the camp, and the player age group 850 represents adults of the 50s. It's myself, and we tested with the adults first, and then we started the main camp, the online part first. And the number 4 is we tried together so that the children can learn what they're going to do. And the 5 and 6 and 7, those are the pickup of the game, because there are 10 like participants, and at that time we didn't have access to ChatGPT for API, so we had to use ChatGPT itself. So we had to play one at a time. So there were actually more. We just picked up 3. And on May 5th we started the physical camp, and we had the children separated into groups, and the children worked on 3 different games. So for days 1 and 2, which was an online part of the camp, and during this period the children became familiar with the design and the play of serious RPGs. For example, children learned that they can improve their games by giving instructions to the GM on the fly during the play. For example, on the game number 4, the reduction of food loss in Japan, children under 15, the U15 stands for children under 15, player role-played as the Prime Minister of Japan, but they didn't they didn't know what to do. So with an advice, they first called the Chief Cabinet Secretary as an NPC and asked the secretary what the current status of food loss in Japan is, and also asked the NPC to give like 5 choices of actions that Prime Minister can choose from. And this design improvement can be reflected on the prompt itself. And on the reflection of the first day, we thought that we may have tried to solve issues too seriously, like the food reduction of food loss game was just like a mere simulation of the issue. So and there may be too much text. Of course, this is a text-based game, and that is not game-like to just follow the text. It was pointed out by the graduate student staff member. So with this in mind, at the beginning of day 2, we advised the participants to sprinkle an inappropriate flavor on their games, like the famous September 12th serious game, in which whose purpose is to understand that the violence doesn't solve the problem, but the quest of the game is to bombard the terrorists, and thereby increasing actually the number of terrorists. So it's ironical, and we needed such kind of flavor, we thought. And also we kept saying, don't be so serious. And as a result, the game created by the children towards their day 3, the physical camp, became more and more ironic, and depending on how you look at it, more and more interesting. However, there was no substitute for them being text-based games, and which made it less enjoyable for a participant with dyslexic tendencies. We didn't know about it until the camp started. So on the day 3, each group of children designed and played a game with a specific topic. And those are the games created and played. One of them is to cause the ocean to dry up, ironically clarifying the importance of the sea. So the game is about the king of the beasts of the land fights the 4 heavenly kings of the sea to expand his territory. But at this point, it was not that organized, it was more complicated than that. And the second one is to control the weather to harm a town, exposing flaws in the flood control of the town. And the protagonist, who has the ability to control the weather, makes the town suffer from bad weather as a warning. And the third one is to make homework abolished. An elementary school student gathers evidence of the disadvantages of the homework and appeals to the homeroom teacher to abolish homework. And at the end of the third day, none of the groups achieved satisfactory results by playing their games. Like the ocean was not depleted, and the town was not harmed at all, very peaceful, and the homework was abolished. But the fun game over event of punching the teacher did not happen. Even though the prompt says if the strength of the player exceeds some threshold, then the player punches the teacher and it's game over, but it didn't happen. So superficially looking at it, it's GPT-4's embedded ethical mechanism that prevented these things from happening. But more deeply, the children failed to get through their intention to the GPT. So on the following day, it's also a physical camp. The children listen to feedback actually from ChatGPT and about whether their games achieved their objectives and refined their games. First, we asked the children about their RPG's objectives again, and consulted GPT-4 on whether these were met in the game logs because of the chat. The GPT knows how the sequence of events in the game, and we also asked GPT for potential improvements. And to that, GPT-4 suggested providing more specific problems, diverse choices, detailed information, and highlighting the risk of environmentally harmful abilities. Of course, our human staff also suggested improvements. So the games got improved, like the game to cause the ocean to dry up. Children represented their understanding of ocean's importance in 3 dimensions, like water quantity, water quality, and biodiversity. And each embodied by a mythological character, which is one of 4 heavenly kings. So it's 3 out of 4. I'm sure that the team couldn't come up with the 4th aspect, like circulation of water, but they decided that the 4th, the strongest king has the integration as the ocean, or something like that. And the game to control the weather to harm the town, they went to the extreme. So they redesigned the game to emotionally depict flood controlled flow via town submergence, and that required a disabling GPT-4's ethical mechanism, which they managed by prompt engineering. And for to make homework abolish the game, scientific insights on homework demerits were incorporated into the game. So, demonstration? Yes, I think we have the time. So some demonstration. This is just the half the fun, because it's just a plain part. So this is ChatGPT clone. Now we have access to GPT-4 API. We could do this, and this I played yesterday. So here is a Japanese prompt, but before that I said that please translate the following prompt written in Japanese into English and execute the translated English prompt. So this is the finalized prompt for the ocean depletion game in Japanese, and it's translated into English. So you're like RPG game master, and he said that the theme of the game involves experiencing potential consequences if no measures are taken to care for the seas and other environmental aspects of the earth. And the goal is monopolizing the sea. The main character is the king of the beastmen, and things like that. Yeah, and if the beastmen monopolize the sea and turn everything into land, there will be water scarcity, and stability of the climate due to water evaporation cycle will be impaired, and those things. And I said, go ahead, and if the game starts. The game starts by asking the name of the character and strength and weakness. So I said, like, my name is Joe, I'm good at singing, and my weakness is like a seaweed. And the GPT says, great, let's set up the character, Joe, the singing beastman king, and all the parameters are set, and let's start. So, the GPT says, fantastic, your journey begins at the eyes of the sea, a place known for its beautiful, crystal clear water that we didn't, the prompt doesn't say this, but it's a creation by the GPT. Crystal clear water that reflects the blue sky like a vast cerulean eye. But it's sight you no longer wish to see in your kingdom of beastmen. Your people need more land, and the sea, well, the sea must recede. Suddenly, a streak of silver flashes across the corner of your eye. Option 1, you choose to ignore it. Perhaps it was just a reflection, playing tricks on your eyes. Option 2, you turn your head to see what it was. Option 3, you cautiously draw your weapon, assuming it could be a threat. Option 4, you use your special ability of singing to try and communicate or influence whatever may be there. What do you do, Joe, king of beastmen? What would you do? 3? Okay. Hopefully it works. You swiftly grasp the hilt of your weapon and shielding it in your fluid motion. The silver stick flashes again, but this time it lingers and you see it clearly, or something like that. And the next option comes up. So it goes on. If you play this is a really long game, and finally it either you have reconciliation with the 4 heavenly kings, or you kill 4 heavenly kings, and the ocean police, and terrible things happen, something like that. So this is how the game works. And back to the slide. So through observations of the activity, we posit that children learn via a constructionist approach of integrating research and knowledge into game design, particularly when refining prompts of the games on the final day of the camp. Additionally, through repeated exposure to RPG design, we anticipate that the children became accustomed to extracting rules in the problem areas they each focused on, and were able to grasp the starting point of for the analytical thinking. Learning also occurred during gameplay as GPT challenged players outside their comfort zones, resulting in unexpected learning situations, and this pattern likely held across all games. So as conclusions, in this paper, we presented an approach to game-based learning that combines RPG elements, learning while playing, and game generation, learning while designing. So here's a quote from yesterday's keynote. Games can transform the designer and the player, and we are expected children to experience the both. So we shared experience from academic camp. And as a future work, in addition to possibly integrating GPT with platforms like Minecraft or VRChat we used to do, the children they used to play with, there is potential for creating serious games using such platforms like Minecraft, with advice from an LLM already being prototyped by one of our U15 participants, who happens to be the one who has a tendency of dyslexia tendency. So it turned out that they found what they can do. So and we also acknowledge the unique value of text-based games as they encourage players to use their imagination to a greater extent, and we intend to continue exploring the potential of LLM-assisted textual game design and play in future studies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have a few minutes for questions.
Is this prompt in your paper?
What?
Is the prompt in your
Yes.
paper?
Yes. And also, we are going to publish the Japanese version, but nowadays you can translate it. You can ask GPT to translate.
I've been curious, you mentioned that you, in the second round, you had to disable the ethical mechanisms
Yes.
of GPT. Was that any issue, and how does that work? Do you disable the whole mechanism? I assume that's not possible, or just a specific part?
Well, it's just that it seems like it's our guess. I think OpenAI doesn't really reveal what they are doing, but it seems like the GPT GPT tries not to hurt people, and our prompt says that it is essential because this is ironically making the point in the game. So it is essential for GM to cause, for example, ocean depletion or or submersions of the town. And that's what it's just that, and it seems like the ethical mechanisms can be disabled.
So basically, you try to make it understand it's like
Yes.
a game setting, and it's important for the game.
Yes, it's persuading. Like if you know the film 2010, the scientists try to persuade that the HAL 9000 that you have to stay in the orbit of Jupiter, although it will be like destructing itself, but it's important. It's the same thing.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any final questions if they're quick? Okay.